So I wasn't at the Kent Hughes press conference from a couple of days ago when the Carey Price question got asked, and then everyone started laughing. And then Kent Hughes was all like, "Yeah, when it comes time for us to announce Carey Price news, we'll do a whole press conference on Carey Price." And everyone started laughing. Y'all know that's what's going to happen, right? Like that's not a joke. Like when it comes time for the Canadiens to say, "Hey, Carey Price is not coming back," or he's coming back, there's going to be an entire press conference. It's going to be a whole hour. It's going to be special programming. Who knows?
Pay-per-view.
It's going to Yes, it's going to be all about Carey Price. And I think it's not just the fact that everyone just wants to know how he's doing and all that. I believe it has a massive influence on how the Canadiens can go about some of their off-season plans. Andrew, do you agree with me? I hope you do. You are my friend after all.
Yes, I do agree with you.
Especially you.
Yeah, I do agree with you. I think that Carey Price factors in so many different ways. Number one, what's your goaltending look like next year? Number two, can you trade Jake Allen with 1 year left on his contract, either before the season, at the draft? Well, not obviously not at the draft because we won't have clarity on Carey Price at the trade deadline. You can get a lot of value for Jake Allen if you trade him. So if they have to stick it out with Jake Allen for the rest of the year and run him and Montembeault because Carey Price can't play, that changes a lot of things. Is Carey Price going to be on LTIR? Do you have to factor that into your offseason building plan? Obviously, they're not going to necessarily be capped out for next year. They're not trying to build a contender, but they can do things with their cap space, taking guys like Evgeny Dadonov on expiring contracts to trade them at the deadline that maybe Carey Price coming back would prevent them from doing, or being on LTIR might throw some wrenches in the mix. You never know. So until they have clarity on Carey Price, there's going to be like some obfuscation of what their plan is for next season. There's no getting around it. And unfortunately, it seems like it's going to be farther into the future than we want to get that clarity, probably into training camp.
Yeah, I agree. Still a lot of unanswered questions about Carey Price's status, obviously, physically, mentally, where is he at? Is he going to be able to show up at training camp? And if he does show up and all of a sudden he can't play anymore, well, hopefully the management has projected that as a possibility, and has a serious look to see Montembeault. Is he going to be able to pick up some of the slack if Price cannot play? Allen, is he going to be able to do the job also? So until that plays out with the Carey Price status, everybody's doing the guessing game. But we're going to soon see whether or not he's going to be able to play again, and hopefully they have a backup plan if he cannot, because I don't have a good feeling that Carey Price is in a real good situation to return to play, but hopefully I'm wrong.
Well, the two giant elephants in the room going into the offseason were Shea Weber and his contract, and Carey Price and his contract. The Shea Weber situation has been resolved. Carey Price obviously hasn't. $10.5 million on the cap for 4 more years. That sort of ties Kent Hughes' hands as far as what he can do, not only for this season, but also for further seasons moving forward, as far as working with the cap. Shea Weber, with the injuries he has, either can't or come back physically, or doesn't want to put himself through the physical grind it would take to come back to play those last 4 seasons. Admirable thing about Carey Price, it would be easy for him to say, okay, I'm getting another operation, LTIR, I'm done, collect this $10.5 million for the next 4 years. But I think he wants to come back and play. I think he really wants to come back and play this year. He doesn't want to pack it in. He doesn't want to, he wants to come back and prove that he can be a top-notch goalie in the NHL. And he showed that in the Stanley Cup run, that he still could be, despite playing through that knee injury. He went through more than just a knee injury last year. We know he was in the NHL player program there. He's had a lot of time off this summer to hopefully get his mind clear, and the knee, hopefully a little more time off to get it to heal. But I think he really wants to come back and play. I think he wants to come back and he wants to be the Canadiens' #1 goalie, realizing that he can't play 65 games anymore. He can maybe play 50, which makes Jake Allen even more important. As you mentioned, Andrew, you can't really get rid of him at that point until you can find somebody else. But right now, I think Carey Price is going to be the starting goalie when the Canadiens start next season, because I don't think that contract is tradable until he proves he can be healthy for a lengthy period of time. And I don't think he can do that moving forward. As I said, I think his future is like 50 games a year. But I think he wants to come back. I think he wants to play for the Canadiens and prove that he can still be an elite NHL goalie. And so that's, as I said, I think he's going to be in net when the Canadiens start next season.
Man,
Yeah, I think his
don't know
attitude
about that.
is pretty clear, right? Because wasn't it reported that he was offered a surgery, like he was recommended a surgery that would fix his knee, but it would end his career, and instead he got an injection, like a platelet injection or
PFT
something.
injection, yes.
Yeah, to try to get the knee
He's
to
gonna try
start
everything
healing
he
a little bit.
can to come back. And it might be a case if he plays 5 games next season and says, "Okay, I really can't. I've given it in," and then he goes on LTIR. But I think he's going to be in goal when the season starts.
Man,
Yeah,
I
my
don't
impression
know.
from Price is that he wants to come back, but only if he can be at a level that he's comfortable with, right? He doesn't want to come back and play like the last couple of seasons where he was really struggling. He wants to look like at least a top 10 goaltender in the NHL. And that may not reflect in the numbers that the Canadiens are rebuilding, but I think he knows when he's playing well and when he's playing poorly, like any elite athlete does, right? He's his own harshest critic. So if he can play decently, consistently, and play 50 games, then that contract, if you eat half of it, becomes very tradable, right? 50 games plus playoffs for a player who can consistently be a top 10 goaltender, that's something that teams might bite on. But as it stands right now, no, it's not moving anywhere. And we have yet to see if Carey Price can make it all the way back.
Man, I don't know. I'm on the side that says until being told otherwise, I don't think Carey Price is coming back. I still hang on to some of the comments he was saying before the end of the year where he admitted in his mind it could very well be the end. And I always feel for elite athletes who want to keep playing and want to keep up. I feel like the idea of trying to stop shouldn't come until you're ready in your mind to say you're done and you're willing to hang it up. And I could understand you're questioning your mortality in the game and all that, and you are concerned with your injuries and all that. But I think for a guy like Carey Price, who has been through as many injuries as he has, it's a legitimate concern. And I understand he has the injection and there's a salary and all that until he has had a positive development in the offseason. And it could very well happen. I'm leaning on the side that says he's not coming back, and the Canadiens are probably going to have to figure out what to do with that contract. Even if he does come back,
I agree with
I've
you.
been proven wrong before. I don't think Carey Price could play at a top 10 level anymore.
I'm in agreement with you on that one, Julian. I think that the injuries that he sustained are going to really affect his ability to play at a high level. And, that's not a fun time in your career when those things happen, and especially if he's had obviously so much success before. So I think it's going to be really a long shot to see whether or not he can get himself healthy enough to play at a high level.
Yeah,
Let's say Carey Price comes back and wins the Vezina next year. Two-time Masterton.
Stu, we'll let you have the last word on this one.
If he didn't want to come back, or if he figured he wasn't going to come back, I think he would have already had a knee operation and it would be all settled now. And the fact it's gone on this late and he hasn't, he's had that other injection in his knee. Again, that's why it leads me to believe that he's going to be in goal when the Canadiens start the season.
HockeyInsideOut.com is the website you should check out. Subscribe to the Hockey Inside Out newsletter and subscribe to the Hockey Inside Out YouTube page.